Chapter 5, Lesson 2, India and Persia. In the 1920s and 1930s, archaeologists uncovered several ancient cities in the Indus River Valley in Pakistan. Two of these cities were Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, were home to thousands of people. The Harappan civilization vanished suddenly sometime around 1700 BC. Many archaeologists suspect this was because of the natural disasters such as a monsoon or a flood or an earthquake. The region's river location and physical geography could have made these disasters very possible. So here is a picture of Harappa, and artifacts tell us about how these people lived. We know they had a system of writing. However, like the writing system of ancient Nubians, we have not been able to decode it. Here's another example or what this civilization looked like. Archaeologists also know that people farmed and stored grains, worked with metal crafts and pottery, wove cotton, and traded and sold goods. Statues that may represent gods and goddesses suggest that they had religious beliefs. People made toys, beads for jewelry. By 2500 BC, the Harappan civilization was thriving. Its culture had spread through much of the Indus Valley River. Remains found of Mohenjo-daro reveal complex agricultural and city planning. The people used a system of weights and measures to construct buildings and roads. Brick homes were laid out in a grid system like many modern cities are. People enjoyed a large public bath and even garbage collection. So here you can see where a public bath would have been. We are going to study a few of the empires in ancient India. The first is the Aryan Empire. About 1500 BC, another group of people, the Aryans, migrated to the Indus River Valley. They crossed the Hindu Kush Mountains from the north and went through the Khyber Pass before arriving in the Indus River Valley. For hundreds of years before their stories and songs were written down, they were recited from memory. The Vedas, or books of knowledge, contain these writings. The Persian Empire is Cyrus II is said to have been the founder of the Persian Empire. From about 550 to 320 BC, the empire stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River Valley. Persian culture was united with the culture of the Babylonians, Lydians, and the Egyptians. The Persian Empire was constructed after the Persians invaded the land of these people. At its height, the Persian Empire ruled 20 provinces linked together with a system of roads. The development of roads and trade by the Persians connected India with other lands in Central Asia. India was no longer cut off by its northern mountains. South Asian culture, technology, and people began to spread to the rest of the world. So if we take a look at this map right here, we will see how we have India right here, and we'll see how the Persian Empire spread. I mean, look, it's all the way over here in Egypt. We have it's spreading up through Europe here. Really big empire. This is about 500 BC. The Mauryan Empire was the first Indian empire. About 320 BC, a soldier named Chandragupta Maurya seized power in India. He started the Mauryan Empire, the first Indian empire, and extended it to the borders of Persia. The Mauryan Empire stretched southward across the Deccan Plateau. The government was highly organized. It controlled many aspects of life, such as how artisans worked, how doctors treated their patients. India had a strong group of civil service workers, a powerful army, and even an army of spies to keep an eye on what was going on in the empire. The Mauryan Empire ended about 185 BC. Conflicts between regions broke out in India. These regions ruled themselves until 320 AD when the Guptas finally took control. So if we take a look here, this is where the Mauryan Empire ruled. So it's mostly around India. So right here we have the Indus River Valley, and then we have the rest of India right here that they controlled. And then the Gupta Empire took over. The Gupta Empire lasted about 200 years. During this time, India made great achievements in science, such as astronomy, mathematics, expanded with the development of a number of systems we use today. This system includes 9 digits, 0, and the decimal. Also, literature and poetry and art flourished. Sculptures made during this period set the style for Indian art that followed. Architects designed elaborate temples made of stone instead of wood. Higher education became available, but only to men. Sanskrit became the language of the wealthy. Also, the economy began to improve along with trade. Textiles, silk, cotton, and linen became especially valuable exports. So here we have the Gupta Empire. It's mostly in the northern part of India. We still have the Indus River Valley, which is right here, which is a part of this empire.